The first time I made $1 million in a year, my car was worth $500 that I was driving. I still drive today that $500 car. My homeowner association called me and they said, we have a number of complaints about a junk car sitting in your driveway. For your information, it's not a junk car. That is my car that I take to and from work every single day. It doesn't have a bumper on it, but it works. And it's not that I can't go out and buy another car. The way I look at it is, well, if I want to go out and buy a $150,000 car, which I can go out and take this cash and buy a car, or I can take this $150,000 and put it back either into real estate or into stocks or into my business. My employees have a better car than I do, but I'm focused on the long term. I'm gonna buy a nice car one day. I'm gonna buy a better car. I'm not saying that I won't, but it's that level of, you know, how much are you willing to sacrifice today for something bigger tomorrow?
What this video is trying to teach here will go over the heads of so many people in my part of the world, especially, but generally the younger generation of today's world, who are so driven by the desire for instant gratification. They do not understand the concept of delayed gratification. And there's actually a spiritual dimension to it, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about it in the normal everyday life way of it. Look, many people believe that if they have money, they have to show it. In fact, there are people in our society who believe that if you truly have money, then you dress the part. You will drive the cars that show that you have money. You wear the clothes that show you have money. Actually, but that is not true. The time I spent in Benin Republic during my very first visit, the first 2 years, when I relocated to Benin, believe me, there was a gentleman, an elderly gentleman, who would always dress in very poor looking clothing, wore slippers, bathroom slippers, and would walk the streets. You know, it wasn't like he was haggard, but it wasn't exactly looking like he was a posh guy that owned property. Until then, he would always take a bike, you know, this Zim Jam, you know, the pretty bikes that they take. He would just hire one and go wherever he wanted to go. I would always look at him and say, what's wrong with this man? He's always wearing slippers and wearing, you know, just drab looking clothes, never really dressed formally and all that. So one day, I couldn't help it when I saw him getting onto one of those bikes again and just pointing at where he wanted the rider to go. And I said, look, this man is always dressing funny. And I told my friend who owned the business center I was always working at. And he started laughing and said, you think that man is poor? He said, do you know that the building we're in and the other two, and this was a 4-story building we're in, and he said the other 2 buildings there belong to this man, and you need to do, all these children are in Europe. In fact, they're going to come. This was around, we're approaching December. I said they're going to come home soon. You will see the cars they'll be driving when they come. Then you'll understand that man you're talking about is one of the richest people in this area. I was shocked to my bones. The man, you will met him on the street, you would think he was at least not a pauper, but at least just one village guy, you know. And this was something I had heard about, you know, that a lot of the rich guys in that country, they keep a low profile. Now, if you go to other parts of the world, Warren Buffett in America, we know that for many decades he has kept the same car he started with as a young man, even before he became one of the richest people in the world. What does that tell us? It tells us that the richest people in the world do not feel a need to show their wealth. Instead, they focus on using their resources to grow their wealth to a point where they do not need to work anymore. But then they work, they continue doing whatever they do because they have a love for it. This is what you see this man talking about. He has a passion for what he does. He has all his needs taken care of. He does not need to make a show. He does not feel that he needs to make a show of whatever it is he owns. All right. So he has a car that doesn't have a bumper. Imagine that a very rich man, a multi-millionaire, has a car that has no. You begin to wonder why. Because it doesn't matter. Okay. And look at what he said. He said he believed he needed to channel the money. It would be better if he put that money back into the business. This is the lesson that many young people refuse to learn. I have also seen that many people who do not even know how to make a kobo, who do not know how to make money outside of a salaried position, who do not know how to go out and actually do something creative as an entrepreneur that will make money. They are the people that are always first to comment about whether or not somebody else has money. And they also want to teach you who is making money by yourself, how to spend money. I'm talking from personal experience. They always have opinion about whether you are spending. They'll tell you you're cheap and all that. These are people that are earning salaries, and salaries that are so limited for that matter, you know. And they teach their kids to think like that. So if you happen to, for instance, get married to such a person, you're in soup, because when you're trying to do this kind of thing that this man is doing, they're your worst critics. So your kids will not listen to you. All right. So in other words, I'm just saying that through that little example I gave, careful who you marry. Make sure that the person shares your worldview, because if this man didn't have the right kind of woman in his life, then this thing he's doing, she would be his #1 enemy, and she would even join the neighbors who are complaining about what he's doing by driving a car like that, and then it will become a home that will be like hell for him to live in, and then it will affect his business and everything will collapse. You see, so you have to pick somebody also to be in your life that will share your worldview, so that when you choose to live this kind of lifestyle, it will be, you wouldn't have any issues going forward. The lesson to be kept in mind here is this: you do not have to focus on the external. Focus on building yourself up internally, and eventually you have so much that helps you to live your best life. You don't need to show it to anybody. You just live your life and enjoy yourself, and then people will be forced to ask you, wow, how do you keep it going so well? You know, I use a phone that's extremely old. When I say old, I mean it's about 4 years old. I don't think it's even a brand. Most of it, I mean, I don't know. It's called the Techno. I don't even care what brand it is, because I think all the brands are the same as far as I'm concerned. I don't do iPhone nonsense, all this silly phones that cost 100,000. I can't put my money on such. I cannot claim to be a millionaire yet, but I tell you, there's a way you go about what you do that ensure that you always have enough money to meet your needs, and you can always grow your income. And I'm doing that. This has been my best year in all the years since I've been in business. And guess what? The rule I have followed has been the rule this man has said. You focus on reinvesting whatever you bring into your business outside of the expenses that have to do with your responsibilities, and you practice delayed gratification as a habit. It's a healthy habit to have. When you form an indisciplined spending habit where you just spend for no reason, what happens is you limit your ability to grow, to actualize your full potential as a person, and it doesn't make any sense to do that. If anything, the lessons we're learning now about the economy, the realities of today's harsh economy, should be what will guide you up, kind of drive you to do this kind of thing this man is saying he does. But many people are so interested in keeping up appearances and impressing people that they will not listen to this wisdom. I hope you learn from it. I wish you well.